Rajan. And Perez, of course, with that missile that he put in the back of the net against Oral Roberts. After 3 goals last season, gets on the board in just the second match. As we are underway, Wake Forest in their gold tops, black shorts. St. John's in the red tops, in the navy blue shorts. That's a very nice looking kit.
Sharp,
also with the stripes.
very sharp. It's very reminiscent of the Syracuse kit when they won the national championship. They had the same, I believe they call them hoops.
The old national team. Sometimes it works for St. John's. Yes, it's good to identify these numbers. They pop, right? Some they kind of hide. This is not hidden. That is diagonal ball and lifted high and almost over the protective net there. But Subachan letting one loose quickly.
Deeks firing a warning shot across the bow here. Oh, that's a one-timer that Coach Muse would love to see hit the back of the net. If you're an attacking player, if you want to consistently get minutes and be trusted up front, you got to put those on target. It's a high degree of difficulty. There is no doubt about it. But that is a chance that Wake Forest would love to have back.
What'd I tell you? You got to give them just one. one try to get their things going. Sullivan gets the start again at center back, with Kruger still trying to get back to 100%, but Sullivan has been spectacular. This is another thing that ends up being big for Coach Muse down the line, Kyle, because he gets this experience from someone like Sullivan, and that depth starts to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And when they get longer into or deeper into the season, those that type of luxury pays off.
Yeah, it certainly does. And you know, what's great about it, too, is that Coach Muse has been able to bring Kruger off the bench. So he's not bringing a defender in cold once he's fit. He's been able to work Kruger in, who can get reps and get himself to 100%, while also getting Sullivan, you know, key minutes for a younger player.
What a gorgeous night for soccer. Happy Labor Day to all those tuning in. Flax in the pocket, collapsing quickly. Goes line up ahead. Jeffrey White off and running. They know how dangerous he is. A good slide tackle by Biggs. Biggs is someone to keep an eye on, too. He is a very, very good center back. One of the best in the Big East. Thomas. Ushering it back to Travis Smith Jr. St. John's, their home field built on a parking deck, and it is very, very cool. I mean, it is really neat. And they opened that stadium in 2002 against Wake Forest.
That's right.
It was a draw. In fact, my son's coach was on that team. I asked him about it today. So it was a different, like, playing on a parking deck. But it really, I went to see it in person. It is spectacular. We'll play back. Sarajan keeps it at his feet. Here's Subachan just off to the right. He was rearing to go. Closer this time, Kyle.
They're getting closer. They're creeping in. This is a good start for Wake Forest. Great vertical ball. They practice those just a little bit wide. That was a very small window. There was almost no room to thread that in because the goalkeeper was well positioned as well.
Subachan, a transfer from Louisville. Jeffrey White trying to play it up for Subachan. Sullivan getting tangled. cut out by St. John's as they'll try to work. Clipped, overcooked, and out of bounds. Might as well call this the Alistair Johnston Derby. With Alistair coming from St. John's to Wake Forest and making a good chunk of change now. Shout out to Alistair if he's watching. Alistair, a big fan of both clubs. What time is it in Scotland? Sarajan running on, headed back, and McLaughlin picks it up. Maybe he's having a little midnight tea and watching this fixture. 2 shots for the Demon Deacons, none for St. John's, but still get a feeling that both of these programs still trying to feel each other out. What was noticeable in the New Hampshire match, I mean, minus the historics of those goals by Gomez, but was how St. John's grew into that game. And you could tell immediately after the 20-minute mark that they were locked in and kind of running things.
And it just took the first one, right? As soon as they got the penalty, Bam Bam Alakazam, and all of a sudden they're up 5-0.
Well, coming off a loss, too, and have the home opener for St. John's. I'm sure a lot of butterflies, but a big win against a New Hampshire team that has been well known in the college universe, college soccer universe. Their former coach now at NC State doing wonders. "35 years now for Coach Mazur." He says, yes, he's a doctor, but he prefers coach. And I respect that because he says it just hits differently. But a pleasant individual to talk to with lots of experience. Flax grew up not too far from St. John's. In the same hometown as Ralph Macchio. Didn't think I'd send that nugget in here.
We bring people the news they need.
There's Coach Mazur, 35th season, 407 wins. You know, we asked him, what's the battery like? You know, what's the battery life? What keeps you ticking? He's like, you know, every year's a new year. And yes, Sasha Sarofsky, who was here earlier this season, and see Noonan and Geldovich. But St. John's, after winning that 1996 College Cup trophy. In fact, he told us he was one of the first teams to implement the press. Now everybody does it.
I think that's a pretty bold claim to make, but certainly it sounds like he was at least on the forefront of many tactical innovations. Great tackle.
That is textbook by Escribano.
Look at the technique here. Escribano may be beaten just a little bit, but he has the technique to see the ball, keep with the movement the whole way, and cut his feet at just the right time to dispossess the attacker.
Little warning to Biggs here. But Coach Mazur has also told us that he's still trying to figure out the pieces of this team. First corner of the match, belonging to the Red Storm. And that is a gorgeous diving header that just missed the target. Completely parallel to the pitch. What a try by Abelon.
When those come off, they are satisfying. When you get a full diving header like that, so fun. Just missed. High degree of difficulty.
Abelon is throwing everything out there. I love a good diving header. That is...
Oof. Very tight angle.
Yeah, he had to hit that with the top of his head, too, which you hate that when you make the commitment to dive out there Superman-like, and then you hit it right on the top of the head. That hurts. St. John's trying to manufacture another trip into the attacking third. We have a player down. Our officials, Rashawn Clark. We have Rick Rogers and Aaron Riley for the officials for tonight's match. Famale is the one that went down out of France. So this is a dangerous spot and a prime spot for St. John's to draw first blood. Clipped. And Mednard trying to punch it out. Somehow it stays in. Now it goes out.
Yeah, that was a very important touch there for Mednard. I believe he did get a touch on the ball. Or at least he put off the attacker enough as that came down from a tight angle, because it looked like there was a chance that that could have been headed in.
Perez laying that forward and hoping for the magic of Bassett Umar to take place. Coach Muse happy that his Liverpool squad slipped by my Gunners today. We exchanged some texts back and forth. And
that wasn't all Liverpool did apparently today.
Yeah, and then you decided to send me the news about. Go ahead and you can bring it if it's
yeah,
official.
It appears that Alexander Isak is headed to Liverpool, which has been a thing that has been brewing this whole transfer window. He'll be very happy about that, Mr. Muse.
Yeah, he will be.
£130 million with transfer deadline day tomorrow.
Thought he was going to stick at Newcastle. Anywhere but Liverpool. St. John's, they have the brother of Thomas Partey, who used to be a part of the Arsenal squad. He's number 30. And an interesting fact about him is, Kyle, it was his following of Arsenal on Instagram that got everybody buzzing in Gunnerland. And that was actually an article. Brother of Thomas Partey follows Arsenal and likes a comment, meaning he will be a Gunner.
That's why they call transfer season silly season.
It is silly. He end up, of course, being signed as Thomas wrestles that one away.
Wake Forest is so good at swarming the ball with a press. You just see every time St. John's is able to pass around one Wake Forest player, there's another there to challenge it. And ultimately, it becomes too many gold jerseys to evade.
Godwin Partey, number 30, and actually was going to transfer to Grand Canyon and decided now he was going to stay at St. John's. Another one of these products that come from a smaller program, and then of course found by the legendary Coach Mazur. Wake Forest still sitting with 2 shots and St. John's with 1. Deeks coming off a 2-0 victory over Oral Roberts on Thursday. Severjan, good turn. Extended tackle. Still won by Wake Forest. Here's Flax. Flax looking. He thought about it. Slides it up ahead to Jeffrey White. And White somehow got that diagonal pass, but cleared out by Biggs momentarily.
Flax wanted it. He was taking aim for a second before he decided to pull it back and feed the pass.
Mason Sullivan doing exactly what a center back needs to do. 6'5". Thomas trying to send this down the touchline. It'll be a Wake Forest throw in. This series is dead even, 1-1-1. But they have not met each other since 2003. Flax scanning. Wake Forest jumping to 5th in the country, 2nd in the country in top drawers, top 25. Sarajan. Tight roping the byline. And it does roll out. It will be a St. John's goal kick.
Both teams so far showing really good energy, Ty. Wake Forest just able to be a little bit sharper in midfield, keeping possession, moving the ball forward, but both teams are showing good attacking intent. Neither side really like sitting back. Love to see that about 15 minutes into the game. Means we could have a show on our hands.
Nahaga there from Norway. One of the many international players in the St. John's team. And Sharp, number 2, trying to pull it around. Does result in another corner for St. John's. 2nd of the evening. Wake Forest still looking for their 1st corner. Interesting how they line up. You got 3 kind of poachers sitting outside of the 18. This will be an outswinger. Also inside there is Nahaga. Returning in with the service ball, looking for Biggs to put the hammer down. Nednard comes up and squeezes it. Deeks returned 19 players from last season. 67% of the goals and 67% of their goals, 57% of their assists. But another top 10 recruiting class, which seems to be the norm for Wake Forest. Very good at recruiting, especially under the guidance of assistant coach Dane Brenner. You talk to anybody that gets over here to Wake Forest, what really got you to Wake? Dane. Lofted into the box, right in front of the 6. Good step by Flax. This will roll back to Jakupovic. And Thomas says, send this one up and have Subachan run on. Too heavy. As McLaughlin sends it deep into the right corner. Nice one touch by Thamale. Seen a couple crosses into the 18 and then over sometimes, but they're getting those crosses in, Kyle.
Yeah, just not able to really threaten with any of them yet. That was a dangerous square ball that Wake Forest are lucky did not come to anything more.
St. John's not letting up is Jakupovic moving up. You could see this entire back line moving all the way up. In fact, McLaughlin is about 30 yards out. This is a good try that is sent with some finesse, but just off to the left by Sharp. Jeremy Sharp lining that one up, a transfer from Michigan State.
Jonah Mednard is not allowing St. John's to have anything in that 6-yard box. He is taking full command of that area. A couple of really good touches and punches to try and keep St. John's pushed a little further out. He's saying, look, you can have chances, but not from here. They got to be from out there. That's how you do it.
After Wake Forest started on the front foot, St. John's has adapted. And they seem to be the aggressors. And they will play ball and just skitters outside of the 18. Jakupovic hoping to send one in, and it's cut out. A deflection, and that's deflected out for a Wake Forest throw in. What has changed, Kyle, for St. John's?
I think it's just a lot of times there's nothing that changes, Ty, and I say that in all seriousness because sometimes you can just, you're waiting for that spell of possession, right? Once you get it forward, now you go, okay, we can open the attack. And they were kind of just waiting for that moment.
Sarajan.
Here goes Wake.
Can he get this one to count? Scoots by, just goes to the right. Oh, boy, he slammed on the brakes.
Man, this was a great counter. He had all kinds of space. The window was there. Great chop. Sends the defender flying. Just doesn't have the accuracy.
The transfer brought in by Coach Muse and the coaching staff. Sarajan, the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year last year. And man, he is high energy. Is Thomas trying to square that one up. That was a little rebuttal with a love tap earlier. And Bassett Umar has it taken away by Partey. Sharp. Well, it's a clever clip with some spin. And Abahan just couldn't get it down. But great idea by St. John's there.
Just another really good opportunity. It is a low percentage chance. Player has his back to goal, trying to flick that header from pretty long distance for a header. Just doesn't get it to work. That is such a tough chance. A lot of opportunities for both sides.
Forest with a shutout victory over Oral Roberts. Thought they had a shutout victory against UCF and what turned to be their opener. But so far so good for Bednar after waiting behind Trace Alfin. It's a tough act to follow, but he's done a great job. Sarajan off and running. That was well read by McLaughlin too, coming off the line. I think if St. John's weren't in their attack, McLaughlin would have backed up a little bit farther, right?
Yep.
And that very well could have been a 1v1 in favor of Sarajan.
He's had a couple chances, hasn't been able to find the breakthrough just yet.
It's over the top. Subachan against Biggs. White slowly arriving, and Biggs wrestling that away from Subachan. And here's what we've seen a lot early in this season for Coach Muse. He kind of get a little sample by, you know, the weapons up front, the attackers, then he'll make a change. And it's not like it's a dip off as far as talent. You're bringing in, by the way, Lorenz, who comes over from Carolina, got his first goal as a Demon Deacon against Oral Roberts. Here's Jeffrey White trying to link up with Chandler Young. It's poked away. Let's see if Wake Forest can pin him back. And his last touch by St. John's, it'll be a Wake Forest throw-in. Under 20 to go in the first half. Still nothing to show. Wake Forest with 3 shots, St. John's with 4. Chandler Young. Thomas all the way up into the attacking third, trying to link up again with Chandler Young. Clearance ball that stays in play for Travis Smith Jr. Oh, good ball, and well played into the pocket as Chandler Young fighting. Chandler Young from New York, and then made the move for Charlotte FC Academy. And now here at Wake Forest. Good step, played by Perez. Of course, one of those top 200 by Top Drawer Soccer. Here's Lorenz. Biggs laying out. Showing why he's one of the best stalwarts in the back in the Big East. Flax. Captain to captain, but Bassett Umar cut out by Jakupovic. Taken away, Chandler Young against Biggs, trying to slip it by McLaughlin, and it skitters. I'm using your word again. Skitters just left of the post.
Yeah, this one, I will say, Ty, looked like the goalkeeper had it covered, right? He just kind of scuffed that shot. Goalkeeper just misses the ball, and the ball goes just wide of the woodwork as well. As they say, beat the goalkeeper, beat the post. But it did look like he had that one covered well. Might have been better to go near post there, since it did seem that the goalkeeper was cheating far post. Wake Forest has gone far post with pretty much every one of those finish attempts so far.
Lorenz. Cooper Flax got a little New York shove. Here's Jeffrey White. Thomas upended, does a somersault, gets right back up. Showing off his agility. See if Wake Forest can finally find the combination to get a 1 on the scoreboard. Not on that trip. St. John's defense bending but not breaking, Kyle.
It's really the case for both sides tonight. Each team has had long spells of attacking possession, a couple of chances up front. Bend but don't break. You can concede chances, just don't concede good chances.
One thing Wake Forest has, at least for now, been able to keep Guilherme Gomez locked down. Just his 3rd collegiate game. He became the first St. John's player since Fred Bischoff on October 23rd of 1982, Kyle, to score 4 goals in a single game. And we've seen a couple of hat tricks come like within, what, 5 minutes of each other. They had one at NC State. We'll show at halftime as this one's played well. Oh, Bassett Umar finding Jeffrey White. Oh, what a kick save. McLaughlin. How about it? The England goalkeeper.
Perfectly done by the goalkeeper as he comes off his line, and the trigger moment for him to come off his line was the heavy touch that Jeffrey White took. That's why first touch is so important. His first touch on receiving the pass from Bassett Umar was a little bit heavy. It forced him to sprint onto the ball, and it allowed the goalkeeper time to close down the chance. Once Jeffrey White got back onto the ball after the heavy touch, the goalkeeper was already way too close and the window had closed.
How about this stat? Alex McLaughlin, .67 goals against average and a .714 save rate in the early part of this season. He's on another level right now. And he's showing that tonight against a top 5 opponent. Numbers in favor of Wake Forest as Thomas picks the pocket of Thamale. Five shots now for Wake Forest, 4 for St. John's. But the Deacs have had some opportunities they wish they could have put to bed. And this match could very well be 2-0 in favor of the home side. Vlad Walent, how about this, Kyle? Vlad Walent coming off the bench. As there's that last chance, and Jeffrey White just saying, where did you come from?
A little bit of extra spice there from the goalkeeper afterwards, too.
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Wallet with a long throw. Dangerous weapon that sometimes gets overlooked. Haven't seen the flip throw in a long time, though. That was fun. Although I think you need at least about 5 minutes after you do that to try to get your equilibrium to return. Lawrence, good step. Last touch by Lawrence. It'll be a St. John's throw-in. Couple subs for St. John's. Also bringing in Nebo Gora, number 14. As well as Farnioli. Under 12 to go in the first half. We're still sitting 0-0. Bassett Umar. Thomas all the way up, clipped, nice bend. Here's a header, just over the bar. Man, that looked delicious. And the tall target of Chandler Young trying to rise to the occasion. He sent it over the bar.
Great feed, just a little offset to the right from the top of the penalty area, and just couldn't get on top of the header. Heading is a very underrated skill set that requires a lot of practice, Ty. It
totally
requires
agree with
practice, and it's not something that's just, you know, ingrained in strikers and easy and all that kind of thing. You really have to practice getting on top of the ball, which is very difficult when you're being pressured by a defender. Half your concentration, if not more, is on just beating the defender in the air, and then you have to get the right contact on the ball.
Well, then nowadays, they don't allow it in youth soccer to a certain age. So they have to kind of learn it elsewhere. So what I did was I got one of those really soft balls, and I'm just trying to get the mechanics right, teaching my son. Because, you know, I don't want the hard ball, because, yes, I agree. It did a lot of damage to me. Probably you would agree.
You said it, not me.
I know. But I just wanted him to get used to reading it in the air, right? Because you got to. That's one of the hard things to do with a flighted ball, reading it, timing it, and putting your sweet spot of your forehead down and coming up with enough torque. Here's a good switch. Thomas laying it down. That was a tough one to corral. And off and running is St. John's. Red Storm. And Amani Thomas showing off his speed. One of the fastest in the ACC. Maybe in the country. Perez. We call him the silent assassin. He can drill one from long distance. He's not one that is loud, but he does use his motions on the pitch to lead. That's why he's got that captain armband. Up ahead. Pass it Umar. Trying to cock one back to Torbeck. Torbeck. Now here's Tate Lawrence moving over to the right side. And that was supposed to be a 1-2 with Torbeck cut out. Plenty of opportunities. More so for Wake Forest, but St. John's has had some really good opportunities as well. But we still sit 0-0. Just the fourth time Wake Forest and St. John's have met on the pitch. Oh, good threaded pass. Chandler Young trying to turn. Look at those long legs. He almost cast it out like a fishing rod. Just throw it out there and hope you can bring that ball back. So here we go, Kyle. This is going to be a set piece. I'll take a look at the replay. How long does his legs go? All right, so a set piece. You know who's going to be behind it. Call him the silent sniper. Looks as if Torbeck is behind it too, which also has a lot of venom on his shot. Under 8 to go in the first half. Will Wake Forest come up with a gem to lead 1-0? They've got the weapons behind the ball right now. And once again, just a little bit over, trying to calibrate to the new ball. And there is our colleague, our teammate in the crow's nest and having to duck. Didn't seem to be too bothered. There's Jeff. Good job, Jeff. Say hello to the family. Good job. Unfazed. I was talking to Jerry last Thursday, who was up in the crow's nest, and he's been doing games with us for a long time. He said this team for Wake Forest has, he said, I don't know what it is, but these shots are coming with a lot more fire behind it than he's seen in the past couple of years. So
yeah, and I think there's just an accuracy concern right now for Wake Forest. You know, it's eventually if you're going to get these kind of chances, especially those ones on the breakaway, 1v1, got to finish them off at this level. It's a great sign that they are getting to a position where they can take these chances and have these chances. It means, you know, they're doing 90% of the work to get there. It's just that last 10% that makes all the difference.
Escribano, good crowd on hand too, Kyle. It is a delightful evening in the Twin City and Deeptown. Soccer team 5th in the country. Well supported by this community. Oh, clever. Bassett Umar, Vlad Wallet trying to chip over the keeper, man. The keeper has been a menace. He has covered ground at an unimaginable rate. He is just, I mean, Vlad Wallet is quick. Bassett Umar is quick.
It's just thin margins, Ty, you know, like being ready for that pass. This pass surprised Wallet, and he had to react, and he had a smaller window with the goalkeeper closing it down than if he had been ready. So it's these thin margins that have made the difference so far today for Wake Forest not being able to cash in.
First corner for Wake Forest somehow slips by and off the pitch, headed over the bar. He must really like Jeff. Bassett Umar definitely deserves a goal for all the creating chances that he's done. And look at him again. Bassett Umar. I think once he kind of breaks this, if you want to call it a curse, but again, he's creating so many opportunities. So it's one that if you're Coach Muse, you're like, it'll come, it'll come. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're stirring this soup. It's Vlad Wallet thinking about moving over to Lawrence. Lawrence touching the touch line as Thomas will link up with Bassett Umar. Maybe an ill-advised touch there with a toe that almost turned out to be disastrous, but St. John's able to dodge it. Bassett Umar. You can definitely see that Coach Major has circled him. Make sure 22 is immediately shut down. Don't allow him much time at all. Good backspin on that ball as Thomas heads it away. Torvik scanning. Torvik into space. Torvik, good curling ball to the right to Chandler Young. Chandler Young with Lawrence. Here's Torvik. Chandler Young decides to put it on his left foot and at least attempt a shot from distance. As the clock ticks down, about 3 minutes remaining in the first 45. Deadlocked, 0-0. It's great press put on by Wallet. The shots creeped up in a hurry. At one point, St. John's had a lead of 4-3. Now Wake Forest has 10 shots to St. John's is 4.
That's right. It's just about getting them on target, Ty. Still just 2 of those 10 on target.
Escribano from behind gets called for the foul. When they talk about spry nights, this is what they're talking about, Kyle. I mean, this is picturesque.
It's beautiful. It's perfect weather. Perfect setting.
A lot of people making their Sunday evening a trip to Spry, and that's one thing Coach Muse has done really, really good at. He's done many things, but involving the community. This is a chance possibly for St. John's. Mednard is off his line. And over the bar in Wake Forest.
Great job.
Dodged the bullet.
Yes, great job by Amani Thomas here, who positions himself well because he sees Mednard is scrambling to try and cover this, and he closes down the angle even more, which puts the attacker off, and he ends up firing it over the top of the crossbar. Little margins again, Ty. You know, you could say the same thing about St. John's and their finishing, but that one there was helped by strong defending and good emergency defending.
Is there any more fireworks left to go in this first half? Chandler Young coming to. Oh, he went into the pocket the right way. Just tried to send the switch to Tate Lawrence. High degree of difficulty is Thomas with his heels being nipped at. 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Is there anything left? Wallent fighting. Sandwiched between two defenders and trying to swim out of it. But St. John's defense holds again.
10, 9, 8, 7.
So after 45 minutes of play in the fourth meeting between these two teams, we are scoreless 0-0. Another little chess match, Kyle.
Yeah, they're predictable. You want to be willing to get out on the counter and building from the back. So this Wake Forest team has done really well to hit St. John's in a number of different ways. They're building pressure and they're on the counter, and they're getting attacking influence and attacking volume well. They just aren't able to finish those chances.
Coach Major was cross paths with Coach Muse before. Muse was at Connecticut. Coach Muse also from Long Island as well. I'm sure they cross paths in recruiting. So Wake Forest does a lot of recruiting in New York. Of course, Cooper Flax being from Long Island. Torvik trying to look to go forward. Sharp able to cut that one out over the top. Brilliant ball and a fantastic, vicious tackle by Sullivan. Stopping what could have been an off and running for Nebo Gora. Good about it. NC Fusion in attendance after their Labor Day shootout tournament. Talk around the tournament fields today was, what time are you guys getting to Spry Stadium? So again, that goes connects with the local community.
Yep.
And the Deacons will randomly show up at one of the NC Fusion's training nights and just train with the kids. And if you go back to just the origins, the beginning of what makes soccer so unique, especially more so across the pond, right, Kyle? It began with the community. I mean, the EPL started with just neighborhood teams that now are these mega teams.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that community, you know, it's tough to succeed.
And that's why they're so stuck up about, like, what team you support, right? Oh, you're not from there. I personally hate gatekeeping fandom in sports.
Yeah.
But they're very sensitive about it because it's such a it started as such a community thing.
I don't think Wrexham fans are going to be upset by the popularity because of Ryan Reynolds, right? And
Certainly not.
Other
teams might be.
Well, more and more money, revenue comes. They make the trip over to the United States. I mean, never heard of Wrexham. I mean, I'm sure you did with how you write for professional soccer overseas, but I mean, Wrexham, I thought they made that up for them. Of course, I just focus on the EPL, MLS too, but yeah, now it's like a household name. Lawrence starting in the second half. Already with a tally for him on the season, transfer and coming back home to Winston-Salem. Deke's having a fight as Lawrence found a little seam there. Was hoping for a through ball. St. John's pesky. Backspin on this is Escorbano. Well, read this one and watch it go out of bounds. Escorbano's been with the program for a long time, got an extra year. But big part of Wake Forest soccer in the last 5 years. But also this summer, Coach Muse moved into a new house, and there was Christian Escorbano pulling up boxes. And he wasn't forced to do it either.
Talk about community. That's the kind of thing a community program does. Helps each other out like that.
Perez trying to go over the top for the speedy Vlad Walent. Flag up.
A little too speedy.
Flag up by our friend Rick Rogers. He's always known for a tight line inside. Biggs. The switch. Look at Amani Thomas. Not only can he fly, he can leap. And look at Lawrence work. Walent's to the left, trying to thread it up the middle for Bilal. Good cut out. Here's Thomas into fifth gear. Still with it. He's got options. Is it last touch? Yes, it is. Last touch by St. John's. It will be a corner. Thomas doesn't even look winded. He's flooring it. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog out there. Doesn't even show any type of fatigue. Bilal. That's a difficult spot, and he still was able to get some sort of power on that. See that again.
Wake Forest just continuing to probe. Yeah, that's a little far for a header. You've got to have the perfect accuracy from that distance. Just not quite there yet.
St. John's last year, how successful their season was, and then moving into this season, they lost a good bit of production. But I mean, like Coach Mazur was saying, they're trying to put the pieces together, Kyle. But I think the talent is there. I mean, there's a lot of scary weapons for St. John's. And when you have a center back like Biggs and a keeper like McLaughlin, you're off to a good start.
Yeah, when you can weather, long spells of attacking pressure like this without conceding, it really gives your team confidence, because even against the best teams, you get down to 15 minutes left and all of a sudden you're still in the game. It's a boost.
See how in phase Flax was? The ball, as the loose ball comes up, he looks it, sends it, and then plays the real ball. Travis Smith Jr. What is concerning, Kyle, is I do not see Bassett Umar on the pitch.
Yeah, we'll see if that's just a break or anything a little bit more concerning.
A yellow card to Amani Thomas. And he's been playing another gear, another universe.
Yeah, that's very late and completely warranted. You come sliding in like that well after the ball has been released, especially when the opponent is down on the ground like that. You'd end up crunching your legs together. That can be dangerous.
And he knows it. And that was a good call by the official. So Amani Thomas goes into the book with a yellow card. Look at the foot by McLaughlin. Sullivan had it on his chest. Bilal squaring up with Biggs. Oh, nice probing pass to Flax as he finds Vlad Wallent. Wallent
released just a little early.
He's testing Rick Rogers on that side.
Yes, he is.
Locked in a tight one, Kyle. And I don't know, but what St. John's can do more of besides finding that final ball, but they've been able to, again, keep Wake Forest from finding a good spot to sit one in the back of the net, too. And that also has to go with McLaughlin's performance.
I don't think they need to change anything. I think, they've had enough chances that you just try to continue to prevent opportunities for the opponent and wait until your moments come. I think Wake Forest has had the better, of the game flow, but I also don't think if you're St. John's, you're unhappy about it.
Nebo Gora offside. The flag goes up. For Wake Forest, you could just taste it. It's just about to break, right? And actually, we saw some of that in the first half. Unfortunately, they were unable to finish off their prime opportunities. But, with their speed that they possess on the wings, as well as the big target, number 14, Bilal, you kind of get a feeling, I think the fans feel it too, they can finally break and find another good test for McLaughlin. But he has answered every test so far tonight. Perez, that's up ahead. Bilal shoulder to shoulder with Biggs, and McLaughlin right off the line to smother it. Coach Major had his 400th career victory last season. "35 years coaching and loving every bit of it." Perez, nice pocket he cut out there. Red Storm was picked to finish third in the Big East Division. The preseason coaches poll. Wallent Poked away by Nagaha. I think Escribano, just because of his tenure here, is kind of, I don't think he gets the benefit of the doubt with, you have an injury like he had last year. It takes a lot mentally to get back to form, right? And he wears the captain armband. You have fans that say, "Oh yeah, Christian's back," but he's still trying to get back those sea legs. I mean, what I've seen tonight, that looks like Escribano.
Yeah, it's all about trusting your knee, right? It's all about, what do I feel comfortable with? It takes a different length of time for each player, because you always have in the back of your mind, you're trained throughout your recovery. You got to be careful, because a lot of times when you have an injury like that, you feel fit and you're like, all right, I'm good to go. And the medical professionals tell you, you got to ease your way back in. So now you have in the back of your mind, okay, I have to ease my way back in. When am I 100%? It's impossible to know. So you can have the top medical professionals, you can have the best plan, but it's just a feeling. Do I trust it? And once that clicks, it can take some players at the top pro level 6 months once returning to the field to really be back to their best. And so it's different every time and for every player.
Depending on the injury. I mean, if you're a player that can erase that from your memory, that is very hard to do, because as soon as the lights come on, you get on the pitch and there's a 1v1 or something that kind of reminds you, has a flashback, you start to go back into your shell.
Yeah, and what's tough about it is it's all subconscious, right? You're not thinking about this. You're not thinking, oh, I'm going to hurt myself again. It's all subconscious, and it has to be, you have to retrain your body to have peak physical athletic movements become muscle memory again. Because sometimes you lose that, especially when your body does not trust itself.
We're talking about Christian Escribano last year. His season was cut short after an injury. Regular season game at Clemson. Deba, the centerpieces of this freshman class, and Morent's tangled up, deflected off. It'll be a goal kick for St. John's. I mean, I even asked him just straight up. I said, he's had a couple injuries, bumps and bruises throughout his career. It's how do you erase that? And I'm always interested in the mental game. How do you erase that? Get back on the pitch with the lights bright. You're wearing a captain armband again for the 3rd year straight. But he's very poised, calm and cool, like the seeds of a cucumber. And exact type of leader you want. Escribano, you know what? He was in the thick of things with the run last year. Here's Sharp, curling, Bednard wraps it up. But if you look at the photos, you look at the video from their run in the ACC tournament, their run into the NCAA tournament, Christian Escribano and Vlad Walent, who had his year cut short, were in the thick of things. They couldn't do it with their legs, but they sure did it with their voices and the morale that they gave to this Wake Forest team. Over the top to Thomas. Baruchnek was following him all the way down to the corner. Escribano, he was signaling for Bilal to come into a pocket. Bilal stayed up. He is bodied up with Biggs. We saw how important Bilal is holding the ball up and allowing Wake Forest numbers to get there. She set up a brilliant strike by Perez against Oral Roberts. There's Sarajan. Oh, that what a cut crossover, if you will. Sarajan upended. Biggs showing off again why he is one of the best.
Really great chop right here, sends two defenders barreling into each other, and then a wonderful tackle. Just a beautiful, beautiful tackle. We've seen a couple of those tonight from both sides. Antonio Biggs, you see him being recognized in the Big East preseason.
Out of Kingston, Jamaica. He spent actually 2 seasons at Tyler Junior College in Texas, where he was a JUCO All-American. Actually, in his youth, he represented Jamaica to participate in the Caribbean American Soccer Association annual Youth Soccer Classic. And probably got some attention by some soccer coaches in the United States. But I do love the stories of kids that go to a JUCO and then end up in their career, say in a D1 Big East program like St. John's. Well, there was a time that hope was not there for players, right? You go to a D2, a D3, or a JUCO and sit replay on Sarajan and Biggs.
Yeah, just a tangling of arms and legs, and Biggs got the worst of it. Yeah, we saw that last time out, Ty, with the men against Oral Roberts, right? A program that built pretty much its entire roster with players that come from D3 or JUCO or whatever. And, you know, their head coach told us, we don't want other people's cultures in our culture, which was such an interesting way of going about it, and a unique philosophy. Not a lot of programs have that same thought process, but it proves that there's some gems to be found at that level.
I mean, you're playing a JUCO or a D3, and someone like Coach Major comes and talks to you. I mean, that's a kid that's going to have, you know, a little fight to him, a little edge to him. And we heard that from the Oral Roberts coach. Just have a little bit of an edge to him. Escorbano inserting himself. So is Flack's return. Captain to captain, sending that one up the middle, trying to find Sarajan. Look at the scoreboard. There's 25 minutes remaining. Still, this contest hangs in the balance. Both teams trying to figure out how to break down the back line. Rabiot. We bring in the likes of Rabiot, as Coach Major said about Coach Muse this year with his depth. Rabiot comes in. He's a starter in a lot of programs, but you bring him off the bench and he can dance, create, and make his name known. He did that in the ACC tournament.
Yes, he did.
Wake Forest still with 11 shots, and St. John's just with 5. Bednar not credit with a save, but he is, when they needed him, he's come off his line and been the big impact. Hasn't had the workload like McLaughlin, but they call for him. He's up. Ready to snatch it out of the air. There's a rip that just a tad bit off the target. There's Partey. His brother can hit it from there. I've seen a couple of matches where he sent one at that distance. Absolute spear into the top corner. Rabiot trying to stay. And I knew it. I looked right over at AR Rick Rogers. I could just tell where he's positioned. That flag is going to come up. So it's negated by an offside call. McLaughlin will show off his foot. Stockport, England. Scribano. Flax poked up ahead to Rabiot. Rabiot back to Perez. Perez searching for Sarajan. Jeffrey White now back to Thomas as Thomas scans. Thought about keeping it on that right channel. And the overload, now the switch. Right idea by Rabiot, just a little too much weight on it. You know, one of the keys that Coach Major said was eliminate Bassett Umar, and we haven't seen him in the second half, so I guess you check that box. Hopefully we'll see him if you're a Demon Deacon fan.
Yeah, saw him on the sideline earlier. Seemed to be okay.
Rabiot trying to come from the side. He's called for a foul. That was the right call. Coach Moose and the coaching staff keeping their seat and looking on.
Yeah, he's over there. Just keeping himself warm, stretching out.
Big parts of the run last year, Bassett Umar and of course Kruger. Here's Partey. Biggs. Turn and shoot situation. Scuffed in the air. That will go out of bounds. It will be a corner for the Red Storm.
Cooper Flax trying to keep spirits high for Wake Forest. This is a moment that St. John's can use to buoy themselves and gain some confidence. If they can threaten the Wake Forest net here, even if they don't score, it could give them a real emotional boost moving forward.
Escribano is tasked with marking Gomez. There's Powell, Brazil. And some instructions by the head referee. Also have to highlight Naha guy who's trying to hide in the far stick. He is marked well by Sullivan. This is an outswinger. A half volley attempt. And when there is chaos in the box, it's usually not good for the team defending.
Brilliant job by St. John's to get an opportunity on goal there. Really good corner delivery and a couple of good shots. But Wake Forest was organized in the penalty area and able to block both attempts.
Biggs looks okay. That's a good sign for St. John's faithful. Both squads with A+ kits, I have to say. St. John's now with 8 shots. Wake Forest still sitting at 11. DeBa. Settled that nicely. Perez. He was surrounded. Play the simple ball back to Escribano and ushered over to Travis Smith Jr. Under 20. Is there something lurking for the Deeks? Is it DeBa, the freshman? DeBa just off target. It has been the theme all night for Wake Forest. And man, DeBa about introduced himself to Deektown there.
Well, once again, the Deacon strikers go far post. It's been far post the entire time for Wake Forest. That time was the right decision. The angle at the near post was completely shut off. You had to try and go all the way across. As Bassett Umar comes on, gets the final 18 minutes of this game to try and make something happen.
That's almost DeBa. Knew he was about to get subbed out. DeBa from Painville, Liberia. West Africa, and of course Bassett Umar from Ghana. Sarajan. Escribano. Not sure if that did completely at one rotation out of bounds, but the side judge says yes. Clever little back heel by Sharp. Good link up here with the Red Storm. Thamale. Sharp. Inserted pass to Bassett Umar, and he has to shake off Partey. Partey also from Ghana. Tracking back. Abeya. Now the shot count at now 12-8, I believe, is that gap has slowly decreased for Wake Forest. Unless they can come up with something. Still 0-0. Does White have another surprise hit here? Multiple touches in the box. Back to Young as Thomas scans. Sarajan timing his run, standing right behind this back line that is well organized for St. John's. Sarajan trying to sneak here on this outside flank, and this will be a free kick opportunity for Wake Forest, and not a good sight as Thomas looks to be not 100% there.
Yeah, both players in a little bit of pain here. At the end of all this, it will be a very dangerous and opportunistic free kick for Wake Forest, but first the concern for both players.
Yakupovic looks like he's going to get a yellow card. He was upset about something out of Stuttgart, Germany. His first name means Big Bear. And he was not too pleased with either the no call by the center referee. So a yellow card for Jakupovic.
Yeah, that's a late tackle. I'm not sure what he's upset about.
He just threw out his cleats there. Again, it's how fast Thomas is. You think that you think that you went 1v1 with the ball, right? And then you look at the replay and you're like, oh wow, he was ahead of me there. Thomas looks to be shaking it off, which is a good sign. So when you have a weapon like Thomas on the wing back, you definitely want him healthy and available. So now, Kyle, here we go. 15 minutes and some change remaining. This contest still in doubt. Cooper Flax sitting here behind the ball. Will he put on the cape? Chandler Young bouncing. Perez sitting on the back door too. And Sullivan at 6'5", hoping for the aerial threat. Bassett Umar also muscling up on the near stick. Now the cue to Cooper Flax. Driven low. Perez rebounded. It's in! Jeffrey White is going to have it negated with a offside flag up.
Yeah, Ty, that was a beautiful, beautiful free kick chance. The referee will go look at it, but I think it was the right call. There were about 3 Wake Forest players standing on the goal mouth when that initial shot came in. Yellow card for the goalkeeper there for dissent. But I do think this was the right call on first glance, because it did look like the St. John's back line stepped up appropriately. I don't know what the goalkeeper is upset about. But there was about 3 gold jerseys there waiting to pounce, and the St. John's back line did very well to step forward on the initial shot attempt, which I believe came from Jose Perez at the top of the penalty area.
I don't know if it was McLaughlin upset with Jeffrey White and maybe some of his celebration antics, but he was not happy at something and got a yellow card. And Jeffrey White thought he had his 2nd goal of the season wiped away momentarily right now with a flag up by the AR. You see the video review. Offside when a goal has been scored immediately, so yes, it's going through the protocol.
Sometimes it's hard to see some of these situations too, because it can be difficult to get the proper angle, but it did look like there were a number of Wake Forest players standing on the line here. So you see the St. John's players all step forward, and yeah, Jeffrey White's offside on that shot attempt. It looked like, I think Travis Smith Jr. was probably off too, and maybe one more. Sarajan in there as well. Deeks continue to probe, searching for that opener.
Coach Muse trying to get some extra energy by the crowd here at Spry. Thought he had a huge goal in favor of the home side. He's not allowed after Jeffrey White was in an offside position. A heated affair between these two teams.
Yeah, I think, you know, you're looking at a pretty even battle right now. I think Wake Forest is on top, but St. John's continues to prove a threat. They've had a couple of corners. They've moved forward. They've advanced. They're showing attacking intent. They're not bunkering. I think we're set up for a good final 14 minutes here.
Captain to captain, so slippery. Flax. Chemistry with Umar. And a foul called on Wake Forest. That takes away any type of attack. Trying to go over the top. Umar trying to settle that for Jeffrey White to run on. Partey takes it away.
What a boot.
Big ball by Sullivan. Game of long ball after long ball.
Awesome skill there by Biggs. Heading it down. Look out.
No call. The whistle stays silent. And 2 Wake Forest players down.
Yeah, and St. John's looking for a penalty here too, and I think that's what they're going to go review. We got another video review here for a possible penalty. This was just a tangle of limbs and bodies down near the top corner of the penalty area, and this is the threat that St. John's poses if this game continues to stay 0-0 through the final stages. All St. John's needs is a moment like this, and I think this is going to have to be a very clear change. You know, in order to see this changed, it's going to have to be a very clear error or mistake by the referee, and I'm not sure that exists. Anytime you've got a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-2 where the lone attacker is going up against 2 defenders, it's going to be difficult to win a foul.
Everybody anxious to see what the official sees on the monitor.
Yeah, it's a nervous energy going around Spry right now.
Just how this match has gone, Kyle. I mean, it's something that like that.
Nothing.
Nothing. So something like that.
So there's the challenge. VAR cannot give a common foul, so even if the referees determined that was a foul, it was outside of the penalty area. So nothing given here. The referee let it go in real time. Even if he looks at it and says, I probably should have called the foul, can't give it on VAR. You can only give a penalty or a red card.
Wake Forest still not out of the woods yet is St. John's with a corner. Outswinger. Backing up. Chaos ensues. As Sharp once again, another service ball, and Bednar with those sticky hands. Snatching out of the air.
Deke's getting a little long ball happy. Again.
Sarajan. That might be...
They're just not able to maintain possession because they keep going long.
Sarajan over the top, this time looking for Young, and Young's going to make it a little nervy for McLaughlin. McLaughlin with 4 saves. Tonight he had 4 shutouts last season. Sullivan hit the deck hard. Coach Muse using the lengthy and lanky Chandler Young to see if he can spring one free. It's a little late, Kyle. What you think?
Yeah, referee thought about that one for a while, that's for sure. Don't look now, but St. John's has quietly crept back up in the shot count. 13-10 now. It was 10-2 at halftime.
Partey can deliver it inside the box. That could be difficult. Bednard on the ladder, snatches it once again. Very impressed by Bednard. How do you take over the reins from Trace Alford, right?
Yeah. Big shoes to fill.
And when that moment hits, you got to shine, and Bednard has done that.
Given away on a long ball yet again. Deeks have not been able to possess the ball here over the last 10 minutes or so.
Under 10.5. You just get the feeling that we're going to see at least one goal. These two clubs have played. Umar. Is he the X factor? Young.
St. John's has done a great job of negating Bassett Umar. That's what you do when you go long ball as Wake Forest. You pretty much eliminate your number 10. And whether it's a combination of St. John's defending or Wake Forest using certain tactics, Umar has not been a factor here in the second half.
Sarajan trying to do everything he can. Very rare error by Bassett Umar. Doesn't do it that much. Just couldn't time it right. Deeks will now work again, building from the back. A hit from the back on Chandler Young. This will stay silent, and now St. John's, they give it a go. As Sullivan got in the way of that one, hopefully he's all right. Bassett Umar into space. He's got options to the left. In the middle, there's Sarajan trying to cut one and find Chandler Young. Biggs monitoring Chandler Young well. Back and forth we go. St. John's have an attempt. Low driven on the ground by Smythe. Wake Forest with 13 shots, and I think St. John's with now 12. That's right. Wake Forest with 4 times that the flag has come up on. Eight minutes remaining for Wake Forest to come up with something, or St. John's. Jeffrey White slides it. Bassett Umar. Flax. Umar, Flax. Oh, that was just right up the middle. Good link up, good chemistry between the two captains. They played summer ball for Salem City in the USL 2.
That
just
was
a tad bit
beautiful. Very creative.
Talking about small margins, Kyle. That is tight as you can get. Clock stays frozen at 7 minutes. 7 minutes for somebody to knock it through and into the back of the net. Bassett Umar. Here's a trip into the attacking third for Wake Forest. Thomas outside of his foot. Rushing on his Escribano. Can he catch up? Very tight, too, as Escobar chasing down close to the byline with, of course, St. John's defense charging right at him. Subichan, the Louisville transfer. Just thirst for goals after goals. Two seasons at Louisville, in 34 matches with 20 starts. He had 14 points, 5 goals, and 4 assists.
It's a total, I think, clearly caught Bobby Muse's eye, but one that I think Coach Muse thinks that he can improve on. Today, it's just been for all of Wake Forest about hitting the frame, hitting the target.
We had that same storyline last year, right? Just trying to finish. They got down to October. It looked like it was a lost cause, and they figured out how to finish. They did
at
very
the right
well.
time.
Yeah, at the right time. Well, they're running out of time here with 5.5 remaining. Thamale. Smythe. Sharp. Trying to cut it around Escorbano. Smythe still tight roping. Flicked in. Nervy moments, and you're wondering if Wake Forest can shoot out here on the transition. Back to the Red Storm. Sharp. Well read by Mednard. Sometimes you get kind of lost in the moment, Kyle. You see a ball like that, you might prematurely get off your line. Then you're out of position.
Yeah.
But Mednard reading that very well. Escorbano shaken up too.
Mednard has been excellent commanding his penalty area. He hasn't needed his shot-stopping abilities much today, but he has done extremely well coming off his line, coming out to claim crosses, corners, things like that. Very good.
Mednard is with the Haiti national team selection for CONCACAF under-20 championships last July. Also with the U20 national team in February of 2024. 4:30 remaining. Can the speed of Wake Forest finally break this back line? White had that one cut out. Still with it. Switching, looking for Saraja. Thomas trying to get it off the half volley, and maybe didn't quite have it on his laces. Still, Thomas doesn't seem at all that he's fatigued, bothered by all the running. Similar to what we saw with Jelani Forbes when he was here. Umar. Under 4. Gomez, who's been quiet after a historic night in Queens. Mednard maybe just bored. They probably could have just let that one go, but snatched it out of the air. The size of his hands, though, I mean, those are claws. 3.5. Under 3.5. Perez. Wake Forest building. Flax. White. He waited. He waited for the commitment. Oh, he uses the support to Tomic. There is weapons in the box. Sarajan as well as Subachan. And that is a tight line. Sarajan. Flax trying to return back to Subachan. Nice cut by Sharp. 2.5. Thamale. Escorbano monitoring Thamale. Thamale with a outswinger. Let's see who that hit off of. Slammed into the back. Thomas gets right back up, doesn't take it personally, as he's all about winning this match. 2 minutes. That's it. Bassett Umar. Sarajan. Subachan has his hand up. Subachan just on the ladder, just could not reach it. As we tick down to 90 seconds remaining.
Man, both teams giving this a go. It's been entertaining, to say the least. Just lacking a little bit of quality in the final third. You see it again there from a standstill. The cross just a little bit over Subachan's head.
Subachan from Cooper City, Florida. And now we've hit 60 seconds.
1 minute remaining in the second half.
Tackle from the back. Escorbano. Escorbano quickly throwing it in. Perez able to link up. See how urgent Wake Forest is with 30 seconds remaining. Sullivan over the top. Sarajan. 20 seconds. Sarajan, of course, stood up by Biggs. Here's a weapon with Sarajan's long throw. Flicked on. Is there a chance? Quickly negated with a whistle. That will be the last sound of this match between St. John's and Wake Forest. No score between the two after so many opportunities. The Deacs just couldn't find that ball. They thought they did.